We get sent down some truly fascinating rabbit holes here. And the material you shared on Goju-Ryu Karate, specifically that kata, Tensho,
Oh, yeah. Tensho.
it's right up there. So today, we're going to take, a close look at this form, its history, the key movements, what defines it.
And maybe even find some surprising ways this old practice still fits today.
Exactly.
And our main guide for this exploration is Chris Rowen's book, Kata Tensho, Ancient Form to Modern Day Application.
Right.
It's really quite comprehensive, gets into the history, the nitty-gritty of the techniques.
And even partner drills, yeah, to understand the practical side.
Exactly that, how you can start to feel it out.
Okay, so think of this deep dive as your shortcut to understanding why Tensho matters.
Yeah.
We're aiming to pull out the essential stuff from Rowen's work.
Connect those ancient roots to, today.
Yeah. We know everyone's busy, so we want that deep understanding without getting totally bogged down.
But hopefully find some unexpected things along the way.
Let's hope so.
So maybe first off, for anyone less familiar, what exactly is a kata in martial arts?
Okay, good place to start. Let's unpack that. Imagine a solo routine. It looks maybe a bit like a dance, but every single step, every hand movement in a kata is a preset defensive or offensive move.
Ah, okay, so it's a practice method.
It's a way to embody and really preserve the core techniques, sometimes even the hidden ones.
Interesting.
And Rowen mentions this old Okinawan saying, something like karate begins and ends with etiquette.
Right. That suggests there's a whole philosophy woven in, doesn't it? Not just the physical moves.
Definitely more to it.
It really speaks to how, comprehensive these arts are, and focusing on Goju-Ryu. That's one of the big four styles of karate-do, right? The way of the empty hand.
Goju-Ryu. The name itself, hard, soft, school, kind of gives a clue.
It really does. It signals that balance between, different types of techniques, yielding and strong.
And within Goju-Ryu, Tensho isn't just some minor kata, is it?
No, it's absolutely central. Tensho, which translates beautifully as turning hands. It's one of the two main katas.
Turning hands, okay.
Yeah, it really captures the style's core ideas. And if we zoom out a bit, the roots of Goju-Ryu are pretty fascinating. It didn't just appear out of nowhere.
Right, it drew on older Chinese martial arts.
Exactly. Things like white crane and monk fist boxing were big influences.
Okay.
And those then sort of merged with the local Okinawan traditions, specifically something called nahate, another major Okinawan system.
Right. And here's where it gets really interesting for Tensho itself. It links directly back to an earlier Chinese form, Rokkishu, 6 hands.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Rokkishu. And Rowan talks about these almost legendary figures like Feng Qingyang, who apparently had this incredible understanding of how to, yield to an opponent's force.
And then redirect it skillfully. Yeah, I saw that.
It sounds exactly like the hard, soft idea in action, doesn't it?
It really does, the core of it.
So Feng Qingyang's mastery, that yielding and devoting, that's a key thread running right through to Tensho.
Okay, so how did it get from China to Okinawa and become Tensho?
Well, that's where the Okinawan master Kanyo Higona comes in.
Yeah.
He was crucial. He traveled, studied in China, and brought back elements of these forms.
Oh, okay. He's the bridge.
Pretty much. And then his student, Miyagi Chojun.
The Miyagi, well, not that one, but the founder.
Right, that Miyagi Chojun, yes. Living 1888 to 1953. He took those foundations Higaona brought back.
And really shaped them into the Tensho we know.
Yeah.
And named it.
Exactly. He refined it, gave it the name Tensho, but the story doesn't stop there.
Oh.
Rowen actually dedicates his book to Grandmaster Hanshi Yamaguchi Gogen, recognizing his continued development, his significant influence on the kata too. So you see this clear line, this evolution across generations.
That makes sense. It's living tradition. So what is it about Tensho that makes it so, special? Why is it still such a core part of Goju-Ryu?
Well, I think what's captivating is how multifaceted it is. Rowen really highlights this. There's a kind of elegance to it.
Elegance in a fighting form.
Yeah, when it's done with that deliberate slowness and the breathing is synchronized, rhythmic, the movements have this real grace. And he even mentions potential health benefits, from that kind of mindful, flowing movement.
So it's definitely about more than just combat effectiveness then.
Oh, absolutely. Those circular movements are fundamental. They embody that principle of meeting force, not head-on, but with fluidity.
Redirecting, neutralizing aggression with minimal effort, it says.
Exactly. It's a sophisticated way to manage force. But beyond the physical stuff, there's this profound philosophical side, even humanitarian.
How so?
Many Goju-Ryu masters emphasize that practicing Tensho with discipline cultivates moral character, good judgment.
Wow, okay, that adds a whole other dimension.
Yeah.
So it's not just about self-defense skills.
Correct. Although, and this is important, hidden within those graceful moves is the potential for, well, pretty devastating striking power.
Ah, the hard part of hard soft.
Right. It's there as a last resort. It's a reminder that softness here isn't weakness. It's a refined way to manage and, if needed, unleash force.
Okay, that gives us a good picture of the history, the philosophy. Now, the book gets into some really fundamental stuff. Let's start with reishiki etiquette. Seems huge.
It is. Absolutely foundational. Rowen quotes this powerful line from an Okinawan master. Without proper etiquette, there is no karate.
Wow. Strong words.
It's seen as both the start and the end of the journey. Etiquette here is basically about respect.
Respect for.
For the teacher, for fellow students, for the dojo itself, the place where one seeks the way.
And for the art form, I suppose?
Exactly. It's like a moral compass for the practice. And Rowen points out, the dojo brings together people from all walks of life.
Right, so that shared etiquette creates a necessary foundation. Safety, mutual respect.
Precisely. And it's more than just politeness. It's presented as a vital safety protocol, too.
Safety? How?
Well, a lack of respect can easily lead to carelessness, right? And potential injuries during training.
Makes sense.
Rowen details some basics like the standing bow, tate rei, and kneeling, seiza. These aren't just empty gestures. They build mindfulness, respect. They underpin everything.
Okay. From etiquette, we move to Shihan, the basics. Rowen really stresses this is the bedrock.
Absolutely. If your foundation is weak, everything else will be shaky too. It requires a huge amount of focused, patient practice.
Slow and diligent, he says.
That's Shihan. It's where you internalize the core movements, the postures. Rowen highlights two main hand positions. Kaishu, the open hand.
Open hand, okay.
And Haishu, the closed hand or fist.
Right.
Then he breaks down specific techniques, things like koken, that's a wrist block or strike.
He's in the back of the bent wrist.
Yeah. And shuto, the classic knife hand strike. Everyone knows that one.
Then there's yokokoken, like a horizontal version of the wrist block strike. And uchi-shote, inner palm heel.
Right, versatile for blocking and striking. He also covers heido, the ridge hand using the thumb side. Potentially very effective.
He mentions barate too, back of the fingers strike, but says it's maybe less common now.
Yeah, seems less emphasized today.
Okay.
He also introduces senshin no kame, which is often the initial ready stance.
Okay.
Then striking techniques like shoteyoshi, the palm heel push, both high, jodan, and low, geden.
And nukite, the finger strike, he adds caution there.
Yes, very much so. Needs significant care, proper practice to do safely and effectively. It's not something to just try out.
Good warning. And finally, no-ote.
That's the closing procedure, marks the end of an exercise. It's a really thorough rundown of those essential hand forms.
Okay, so after hands, we get to uke flocks. Obviously critical for defense.
Absolutely essential. Rowen puts it simply, if someone's in range to hit you, you need to be able to stop or redirect that attack.
Makes sense. And he notes most blocks in Tensho use the open hand, kaishu.
That's right. While closed fist blocks exist, like chudan-uke, the middle block, the majority in Tensho are open-handed. He describes kaishu chudan hiki-uke, an open-hand pulling block to the middle.
Pulling block, okay. Then kaki-uke, open-hand hooking block, and ushiro keiki-uke, an inner hook block, defending behind you.
Exactly. And then there's mawashi-uke, the circular block. This one seems particularly important in Tensho.
Why is that?
It's characterized by that unique circular motion, the specific hand positioning. Rowen shares that fascinating bit from Master Miyagi Chojin.
Oh yeah, about the hands looking like Buddha statue mudras.
That's the one, hinting at maybe a deeper philosophical link. And he points out a key technical detail for Mawashi Uke.
Which is?
The hand that starts on top stays on top throughout the circle.
Got it. Coordination. Okay. Covered hands, blocks. Next up, gachi stances. That's your stability, your power base, right?
Precisely. Stances are the foundation, generating force, withstanding force, that rooted connection to the ground.
And the main one in Tensho is Sanshin Dachi, the hourglass stance.
Yes, Rowen emphasizes Sanshin Dachi as the most prevalent, highlighting its stability. He also mentions Musubi Dachi, the formal stance, and Haiko Dachi, or Yoi Dachi, the ready stance.
He gets pretty detailed on Sanshin Dachi, doesn't he? Heels slightly out, toes in, gripping with the toes.
And knees bent, weight even, yeah. All those details matter.
And moving in it, too. Forwards and backwards. Keep the height level, don't cross the midline. It shows there's a lot going on in what looks like a simple stance.
Oh, absolutely. It's about developing that deep stability, that connection to the earth, fundamental for any effective technique.
All right, so with that groundwork, etiquette, basics, blocks, stances, we can finally get into Kata Tensho itself, the actual form.
Right. So the embusen, the basic path or line of movement for Tensho, Rowan explained it's essentially a straight line, forward and back.
Simple enough.
The emphasis, though, is on a smooth, flowing progression, seamlessly weaving movement, technique, and that controlled breathing together.
For breathing. Short, progressive, inhales through the nose, balanced exhale.
That's how he describes it. And he reminds us of that key point about mawashi uke within the kata.
The hand on top matches the rear leg.
Yes, the hand that starts the block on top corresponds with the rear leg. It's all about that coordinated spiraling power.
Okay, now the book doesn't list out every single one of the 68 movements in the main text, right?
No, not step by step there, but it absolutely gives you a strong sense of the flow. He outlines the sequence.
We see those various open hand pulling blocks, hooking blocks, inner hooking blocks.
Wrist blocks, downward knife hand blocks, horizontal wrist blocks, inner palm heel blocks, and yeah, those circular blocks, mawashi uke.
And woven through that are the palm heel pushes, shote oshi, high and low.
Various double hand techniques simultaneously, and the whole thing builds towards that concluding uke, the finger strike sequence.
So the dominant theme is that continuous circular action.
Very much so. It runs through so many of the movements.
Okay, now, the title, Modern Day Application. This is key. How does an ancient kata like this stay relevant now?
That is the crucial question, isn't it? And Rowan tackles it by looking at partner training and specific applications from Tensho.
Partner training.
Yeah.
Like those flow drills he mentioned.
Exactly. Cooperative exercises designed to really help you feel the principles: pulling, hooking, redirecting, unbalancing.
So it's not about winning, it's about understanding.
Precisely. Working with your partner, not against them. Focusing on technique, not just muscle. He gives examples for several blocks we talked about.
So these drills make the kata principles tangible, not just memorized moves.
You got it. And from there, he moves into specific Tensho applications. He starts by quoting Master Kanryo Higashiona about helping others, avoiding conflict.
Setting the ethical framework first.
Right. Then he gives examples of how Tensho's fluid, yielding moves can work in practical self-defense.
Like blocking a punch with kaishu uke, then a keikyu hook to the neck, pull down to off balance.
Leading into a forearm strike?
Yeah.
Or using kaishu uke to redirect a heido strike, then countering with your own heido and kopin.
You do a foot sweep, ashiburai, and a takedown.
There are others too. Using an inward block to redirect, then a shite strike. Or a downward elbow block for wrist control.
Followed by a knife hand and thumb strike.
And even escaping a wrist grab using that circular motion, flowing right into a wrist lock to control and take the opponent down.
It's really fascinating how those fluid, almost gentle-looking circles translate into effective techniques.
It is, and as you said, Rowan hammers home those principles. Do no harm, combine responsibility, safety and respect in training are paramount.
Which brings us neatly to that afterword.
Yeah.
The philosophy of the Bunbukan, the Institute of Classical Japanese Budo Culture.
Yeah, Rowan explains it was set up after Grandmaster Yamaguchi Gogen passed to preserve and pass on the deeper, less tangible parts of karate-do.
He says true knowledge comes with responsibility.
Exactly. And that courtesy, etiquette, they aren't just nice extras. They're fundamental for good relationships, clear communication, real understanding.
And that character bu in Bunbukan, meaning to stop fighting, that really reframes the whole purpose, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. Shifts the focus from aggression to inner strength, actively avoiding conflict.
He even mentions basic things like how you sit, stand, walk, as foundational learning, cultivating stability before you even think about fighting.
Right. And he reminds us of Master Miyagi Chojun's ultimate goal: not to hit, not to be hit.
Powerful stuff, underscores that deep moral, ethical dimension.
Definitely.
So wow, we really covered a lot. Ancient origins, Goju-Ryu, Tensho, etiquette, Kihan, Uke, Dachi, the kata flow, modern applications. It's crystal clear. Tensho is way more than just moves.
Oh, yeah. It's a rich blend of history, philosophy, practical defense. It really embodies that hard-soft balance.
And studying it offers physical benefits, but also it seems real potential for personal growth, character building.
Absolutely. That comes through strongly.
You know, this makes me really think about that Bunbukan idea, stop fighting, and how central etiquette is for safety, for understanding. So here's something to maybe chew on. How could these principles we've seen in Tensho yielding, redirecting force, building that inner strength. How might they apply outside the dojo, in navigating everyday challenges, conflicts?
Interesting question.
Could the lessons learned practicing this ancient form actually give us insights for handling disagreements, managing stress, just being, well, more centered and resilient day to day?
That is definitely a thought-provoking question to leave with. And, as Rowan himself suggests in the book, what we've talked about here, it really only scratches the surface.
Sure.
So we'd absolutely encourage listeners to check out the book, Kata Tensho, Ancient Form to Modern Day Application. And if this deep dive sparks something, maybe even look into finding qualified Goju-Ryu instruction.
Experience Kata Tensho firsthand.
Yeah, to really feel that depth we've been discussing.